So, we're here, back, with Breaking a Point. I did not practice this, by the way, so that's gonna be fun. If you need a recap, Jurassic World Breaking Point is my... Oh. Aw. Anyway, Jurassic World Breaking Point is a novel, trying to be a novel, by me, with creature art by Alpha Star. This part released August 18th. I don't know, I said September 6th. I'm sorry. Anyway, God, fuck, focus. This is Breaking Point, Part 1. If you haven't caught up, please do. Read the announcement, or read, fucking. Watch the announcement post, and anyway, we're hitting the 1 minute mark, so we gotta kick in. Kick into high gear. Kick into high gear. So, for a recap to anybody that doesn't know what Jurassic World Breaking Point Part 1 is, here's the synopsis. After Fritz loses his daughter to two ravenous Allosaurus, his friend helps him seek revenge, chasing them across the western hemisphere, though some things don't go to plan. Between a black market turned dinosaur playland, to the echoes of BioSyn trying to make a name for themselves once again, this blood-packed story is not for the faint of heart. And before anyone asks, no, my voice is not AI. You want to know how? Yeah. Oh. Anyway. Part 1. 2027. June 8th. A red liquid slowly dripped into gravel. Oh, fuck! A red liquid slowly dripped onto gravel, staining the tiny rocks. A man stepped toward it, taking the item off the picnic table and setting it on the floor, revealing it was merely a jug of some punch drink. The man then stepped into his RV, adjusting some newspapers on the counter before setting his coffee mug over them. One on the bottom read Procomsognathus Nesting and Power Plant, with a sub-headline reading, New creatures are appearing everywhere. What it means for you. It was something about Balar. The top read about Cape Town fighting ring being shut down, showing a fight between a Pachyrhinosaurus and a Carnotaurus on the front page. The man stood over them, his loose maple-colored jacket wrinkling at the cuffs and shoulders. He had a short beard and blonde hair. Oh shit, he had a beard? Oh, whatever. His eyes were blue. His jeans rustled against his worn-out sneakers. The man audibly dismissed the papers before walking toward a map of Wyoming. It showed yarn tied all over the state. Hung up with tacks. Jesus. A picture of an Allosaurus was pinned on the woods outside of Gillette. A photo of the man was on Gillette, while a picture of a teenage girl was pinned on Devil's Tower. Her photo was slightly scuffed, with red stains on the corner. He stood entranced at the board, unable to take his gaze off the girl. A tear merely jerked from his eye before a loud squeak filled the air. He turned around, only to see a Saint Bernard on the other side of the RV, wagging his tail with a toy in his mouth. The man walked over and knelt, petting the dogs that continued to squeeze the toy. As he became invested in the dog, his phone rang. He quickly pulled it out and found it on when it said unknown number. Hello? He asked, putting it on speaker. Is this Fritz? The man on the other end asked. Yes. Who is this? The man questioned. It's me, Jeremy Peterson, another man informed. Shit, Jeremy! Hey, man. How have you been? Fritz asked, a wave of nostalgic joy overcoming it. Shut the fuck up. Fucking squirrels. I'm doing good. I was actually calling to see how you've been. Heard there was some sort of incident in Devil's Tower when you were there? Jeremy asked. Yeah, Fritz's voice trailed off. Two Allosaurus rampaged through our campsite and destroyed the old RV, actually. You remember our Hurley? She, sadly didn't make it. Fritz paused, looking back at the board, his gaze stuck on Harley's photo on the pen. Damn. I'm sorry, man. Listen, that wasn't the only reason I called, Jeremy informed. Yeah? Shoot, Fritz asked, his voice laced with intrigue. So, Katie got in the DPW, and she's been tracking the black market ring in Rio de Janeiro. She wants us to help with the raid. Okay. Why would I care? Fritz asked, sensing something bigger at play. I was thinking, if we help her, she can help us track down those Allosaurus. That's what you're doing, right? Listen, it's 3 a.m., but in the morning, there's a bar just down the road. We can talk more about this in the morning. Bring Katie too, Fritz instructed, hanging up. Fritz felt like he just saw a ghost walking out of the RV. Buck followed him out, laying at his foot as Fritz watched the forest below the edge where he sat. He focused on a herd of Diplodocus and Sonorosaurus migrating north. And something caught his attention. A single Ceratosaurus. It snapped and hissed at the herd, trying to lunge for juvenile Sonorosaurus before a Diplodocus whipped it away with its tail, causing the Ceratosaurus to tumble away from the herd. Fritz smirked in amazement. It may have been damn near 10 years, but they always found a way to amaze Fritz. Morning soon cascaded over the small town of Gillette. Outside of Addie's bar and grill sat Jeremy, leaning on the pillar and holding up the front. Kitty stood next to him, and two men clad in DPW gear stood next to a large truck. I don't understand. I thought you'd said he'd meet us here, one of the men asked Nancy. Calm down, Will. He'll show, Jeremy chuckled. Come on, you son of a bitch, he muttered. Suddenly, a clunky orange 1984 Toyota 4Runner came barreling down the street before turning in. It parked next to the large box truck before Fritz stepped out. Jeremy was wearing a purple t-shirt, glasses, long shorts, and an aviator's jacket with Department of Prehistoric Wildlife on the back. Hey, Jeremy, Fritz smiled, realizing how much he missed seeing other people. Who are these guys? Fritz asked, pointing to Wilson Howells and Gabriel Gibson. Ah, these are guys I'm close with in the DPW. Well, Gabriel, this is Fritz, Jeremy informed, and the three shook hands. So, what's the plan? Jeremy asked, looking towards Katie. She looked towards them, spitting out her gum and taking off her aviators before walking towards them. She wore the same jacket as the others and had a black t-shirt on. Jeans stretched down to some functional shoes. Her wavy brown silk strands of hair were pierced by her bright green eyes. Hello, Fritz, she teasingly introduced. The plan is simple. Our informant says some guy is looking to trade a Sierradactylus he has for some theropod. So you and Jeremy are going to go in. She trailed off as Gabriel lifted the shutter door open in the truck, revealing a Utah raptor sedated on the floor. And you trade him this. We'll go in mid-trade, arrest the guy, and we'll help you get whatever you're looking for, okay? Katie smirked. We'll see you in Rio, Katie yelled as she, Gabriel, and Will jumped in the box truck and pulled out. Fritz and Jeremy merely watched as some Othnielium were running around the area. Hey. Jeremy lightly slapped Fritz's shoulder. Check it out, he explained. The two saw a small flock of Geostembergia descending upon the area, dive-bombing to catch fish in the nearby creek, with one even managing to snag an Othnielia. How insane is it that 10 years, Fritz asked, 10 years of these things out in the wild. It still feels like the first time every time I see one. Yeah, Jeremy nodded, entranced with the Geostembergia. Anyway, the plane leaves for Rio in a couple of hours, so get ready. Jeremy explained as the two hopped in Fritz's 4Runner. The car continued driving up the roads before stopping. What? Why are we stopped? Jeremy asked, looking around. Fritz pointed out to a flock of Othnielia and Corthosaurus crossing. Jeremy was relaxed before Fritz rolled down his window and began imitating the call of an Othnielia. What are you doing? Jeremy yelled. Fritz merely shushed him as an Othnielia curiously walked up to the car. Fritz carefully took out some fruit and seeds out of his cooler and put them in his palm, lowering it to the Othnielia. Fritz leaned over to watch as the Othnielia calmly and carefully ate out of his palm, until the other Othnielia began calling for it back. Fritz smiled, dropping the food carefully on the street. As the herd moved past, Fritz began driving away. In the rear view, Jeremy saw the Othnielia run back and pick up the food before running all the way back. Soon, after what felt like a fucking mile, they reached the location of the RV. Jeremy stepped out while Fritz hooked the RV to his 4Runner. What's with the punch? Jeremy pointed as they stepped out. Shit. I was using it as a base for my whiskey, but forgot to bring it back in. Fritz paused, feeling the jug. Well, I was gonna take a few more shots before I left, but oh well, I guess. Fritz sighed, bringing the jug inside. Jeremy paused at the side of the RV. It was a large, towering RV with 4 wheels and room of a small log cabin. As soon as Fritz opened the door, Buck immediately jumped out, eagerly wagging its tail and greeting the new guest. Jeremy chuckled, petting the large dog before the three stepped inside. The first thing Jeremy noticed was the board, seeing that Fritz and the Allosaurus had been damn near the entire state. He paused before looking at Fritz, who was quickly making some mugs of maple tea. You know, this isn't gonna bring her back, Jeremy softly reminded. I know! Fritz snapped, slamming the box onto the table. I, I know, he repeated, softening his voice. It's just, it feels like the right thing to do, Fritz explained, handing Jeremy a mug. Jeremy carefully nodded before taking the mug. As Fritz went to his room to change, Jeremy carefully sipped his tea, reading the papers. Something about Blar caught his eye. Reported, Blar spotted in North America. What it means for northern U.S. As of 2026, it was reported that Blar have touched down in North America, likely from illegal trading in black markets concerning residents in a possible North American black market, it read. BioSyn denies involvement of dinosaur transport to North America. Suspects Department of Prehistoric Wildlife, another paper read. Before Jeremy could read more, Buck began gnawing on a chew toy. Jeremy knelt over to pet Buck. Before Jeremy could return to his reading, Fritz returned. Alright, I'm ready. Hey, who's gonna watch Buck? Jeremy asked, still petting the dog. We're taking him with. He'll be at my hotel when we get to Rio, Jeremy explained, looking into Buck's eyes before getting up. You do know we're not taking a commercial plane, right? It's a private jet, provided by the DPW. Yeah, no. Fritz smiled. Jeremy looked at him confused, foreshortening. Soon, they continued down the road. Off to the side, Jeremy saw a few Ceratops and Ankylosaurus grazing in a field. Airfield's in about 7 miles, Fritz explained, not looking away from the road. Alright, well, wake me when we get there, Jeremy yawned, curling up in the passenger seat before covering himself with a tarp under the glove box. Fritz continued his gaze upon the grazing herbivores before looking over at Jeremy and nodding to himself. He petted Buck, who was sleeping in the back seat. I guess I'm gonna do this, Fritz muttered to himself, lifting a photo of Harley, the sticky note attached to the back. He dropped the photo and pressed on the gas. For Harley, he muttered, determined. The photo fell to the floor of the photo runner, with a sticky note falling off of it. Written in sloppy text, it read, To Allosaurus, Hectilius, and Bruton. And that was part 1 of Jurassic World Breaking Point. Obviously, it's not meant to give you too much, it's just kicking up. But it does help you see how things have gone since the last installment, which was Blue Ridge, I want to say. Yeah, Blue Ridge. So, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you think I'm doing good as an audiobook guy, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Have a out.